Yeah, it's definitely unfair. Like, so I used to live in Chennai before.
Okay.
I grew up in Chennai, and people are definitely more conservative there than Bombay. Now things are changing, but back then it wasn't. So I was also not allowed to wear certain clothes. I was not also allowed to go out past 6:30.
Mhm.
And there were a lot of things that changed for me because I moved away from that city. So
Yeah.
it wasn't mainly that my parents were those kind of people, but they were doing it because the society was asking them to.
वो भी
You know,
messed
they,
up है ना यार. I mean, like just the fact right now, it made me feel like, of course, I don't know why, but it made me feel so hurt when you said you weren't allowed. I mean, who the fuck
yeah,
is anybody to really allow anybody, right? Like, just because you give somebody a roof, or just because you're housed in a society, I don't know why people get like this whole system of where your life is being dictated and you have to ask for permission. And God, it's so suffocating.
yeah, the right, that right is only with themselves, not anyone else. You can't just, that authority does not come to your parents or your boyfriend or your girlfriend, anyone. It can't, you can't just make it about that.
Mhm.
Yeah, you need to be free to live the way you want to live, and just the moment you start putting restrictions on people is the day you start half the time I feel like these restrictions are what cause so many like people to get frustrated in different ways and take drastic actions. And like this is just there are so many examples that come up in this same matter, whether it be, and this comes into light for mental health as well. When you come to
Yeah,
restrictions being put on people, they start feeling that suffocation, like Z mentioned, and they start going towards a darker place. And when you start it takes you a moment to make that split second decision of what, I don't want to be here anymore. And this same thing kind of reminds me of something that was related to this whole case,
yeah,
which I think I spoke to Varshini about as well just before, the podcast. We were recording the podcast today, and this is something that came to light like about yesterday, right? Where
yeah,
there was this sister who who wrote this post about her brother, where her brother was wrongly accused in this matter of harassing a girl in some way. It wasn't mentioned in what way, but the girl accused him, and her and her friends started putting this pressure of you're a harasser, you're a really bad person, and all that. And the boy who had not done anything and was just being falsely accused started coming in under that pressure of like, I have not done something. Why is my life under like this microscope, and why am I being questioned so much? And in trying to explain this to his friends, his family, he couldn't take that pressure, and he genuinely it like because of that anxiety and stress ended up taking his own life,
Oh
which
my.
is which is such a sad thing to hear. And the worst part of it all is when the sister spoke to this girl who accused him. That girl just kind of shrugged it off and said like he should have had the balls to kind of handle this kind of pressure because it's not her, it's not her fault. And how can you take someone's life in such a, I don't know, light manner, like just someone taking their own life because of such things in such, I don't know, it's just sad to hear, genuinely.
Savage.
it's it was just such, it's, all of this is so toxic, and it just, I don't know, I'm honestly out of words, like I don't know when these things are going to change, and I don't know what made her falsely accuse him, or why she did that, because, and now that he's dead, it's, you can't go back from that. You can't, I mean, how do you go back from that? Where do you go from here?
I think all of this is so deep rooted, man. It's hard to admit it, but the environments that we grow up in, unfortunately, really make us who most of we are. Like 90%, 80% of who we are is really dictated by where we're growing up, how we're growing up, and unfortunately, at least in India, it's still pretty backward. No matter how educated or how moneyed you are, I think the mentality at most Indian households is still very backward, and I think that's one big issue. But after you become an adult, and at least till you can take your after you can take your own decisions, I think it's a time for a lot of people to really ask themselves, the burning question is that are their beliefs really valid? And I
Yeah.
think that's something that we don't do. When we grow up accepting something for right and wrong, we usually try to live our life that way. But it's actually really important for each of us every once in a while to look back and ask, is saying things like he didn't have the balls to. I mean, something is inherently wrong and very objectified there. Saying like don't cry like a girl, something is inherently wrong and flawed with that. We shrug these off
It's
as colloquial things
yeah.
that we pass around every day, but I think it's just so flawed. I mean, and
Gender roles that we've given people in general, right? Like, why do boys always have to be that, macho person without like a care in the world, and why
Yeah.
do girls
Yeah.
always have to be like, the weak, emotional person all the time? Like, it can be
Sensitive.
opposite, yeah,
Yeah.
sensitive. It's not at all like that. Like, it's such a weird thing to think about, especially like because there's such a big spectrum in this whole matter where people are in different places in their lives, they have different environments that they've grown up with, and they are of different demeanors, but they end up like just because there's this gender identity that comes up, they start getting put into this category. And I think, Varshini, you must know, like, experience this a lot more than any of us do, because I mean, with the situation that happens, and like throughout, we've started learning a lot about and seeing a lot like how girls are treated. Like, what is it that you must have so many things that you've faced. If you would like to share something like that, like that you might face or might hear from people on a daily basis, like what is it that we can change in this matter as well?
I feel okay. Firstly, about what Z said, I always keep saying that people have to unlearn. When you grow up
Mm-hmm.
and you understand that some things aren't right with the way. Not, I'm not going to even blame the parenting or whatever. That's not my place. But the
Mm-hmm.
society, what the rules and what you've grown up around, basically what patriarchy you've grown up around, you have to unlearn that and you have to break the cycle. Because once, if you don't break the cycle, it's a constant thing. It'll keep going. You will put that on your kids, and then those people, if they don't realize, they'll put that on their kids, and it's a never ending cycle. Then you
True.
have to break the cycle.
for sure.
And about and dude, I face casual sexism on a daily basis from literally everyone. Like
We
if
ask
even
you
if
this, and like if only if you're comfortable to talk about it, because we don't want you to be in any way uncomfortable to bring these topics up. We can, like, if you don't want to speak about all
no,
of
no,
this.
I'm okay speaking about it.
All right, so I mean, I'm sorry to
Yeah.
cut you off in between, but I just wanted to put it there, like we don't want to force anything out here in general.
Yeah, I face casual sexism on a daily basis. I'm sure men do as well, but the level is different. I
Mm-hmm.
like women face it much more because, like, I always keep saying that even if the sexism is like as casual as, oh, a woman should know how to cook or women should stay in a kitchen, that's a very normal line. But
Mm-hmm.
that also should be called out, because when you don't call that out, then that becomes like a routine, that becomes like a habit that you can't break, and that's
Right.
forced upon you, and then you have to do those things.
True, true.
And like this thing happened to me the other day, and I was just out buying vegetables, like right before this lockdown and the whole COVID thing, and this neighbor auntie that I know, not very closely, but she was there buying, and she just asked me, how are you, whatever, and then she goes like,
So trust me,
so when
she
are you
knows
getting
you way better
married?
than you think. She trusts more, or she knows more about you than you think. So
Yeah.
yeah, she knows you very well. You don't know her well.
So
Just
she goes like, when are
understand.
you getting married? And that was such a personal question, because I don't know her at all,
What
and
was
I'm
the
just
first
like,
thing she said to you? Like, hi, when are we doing? Okay, auntie, you
Yeah,
must
like,
take me out for a dinner at least once. Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, it's
and
like if you know me, then yeah, like Sita marriage. Like, when are you
yeah,
getting
yeah,
married?
yeah. And then I'm like, auntie, I'm not ready. So she's like, how old are you? Like 25. She's like, then you're ready. I'm just like, what?
Oh wow.
Okay. Yeah. Just auntie things.
Just auntie things, man.
Like what? Like where? It's like all of these aunties have one WhatsApp group, and
Yeah.
everyone's getting all of their info about all the
Yeah.
inappropriate, sexist, aunties things to say on that. Like
Yeah.
right from GM and hi-fi emojis to be namastes, I think all of them have this secret school where they get trained. It's
Like aunties are the Karens of India.
Yeah, for sure. High time there should be memes on them now.
Oh yeah, right. Like,
what
it's just
about